Hey everyone, it's Rita from Miss Rita to the Rescue, and today is Thursday, January 7th, 2021. We're here today for our daily talk lesson on using our Cricuts. It's called Cricut Chat, and I am your host. It happens every day, Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock here on Facebook Live. And then it gets reposted onto YouTube when you look for my channel, Miss Rita to the Rescue. You will find it, and I'd encourage you to subscribe and check out all of the videos there. We also have something called Cricut Date Night on Saturday nights at 7 o'clock. And it's also here on Facebook. So we're going to be having that this week. I will announce what the project is tomorrow. So it's kind of a crazy morning, and I'm not going to talk politics or about what happened, except to tell you that in addition to not feeling terribly great yesterday was also just so traumatic, and I was up most of the night, and I'm sure a lot of you were too. So I just kind of want to let the people in charge do what they need to do, and let's just move on with our plans, which is to do some really wonderful projects with our Cricuts, and we are celebrating the upcoming holiday of Valentine's Day with a love fest. So today is no different. We are going to be making this lovely card, which, had I had time, I was also going to show you how to do this in iron-on paper. But I did not have time yesterday, and I do apologize for that. But I am going to talk about something called intricate cutting. And it's particularly, it's a topic that has to do with paper. Yep, we need to focus on these little things that we love, such as our love for crafting, and that's why I thought this was a really nice card. Now, it started off as just a piece, and I did put a card on there, so I am going to talk about how to do that. But this also can be done on the Joy. I'm going to show you how it can be done on the Maker. The thing that's different here is that we have a special setting for the Maker and the Explorer. We have a special setting called Cardstock for intricate cuts, and it really makes a difference. And I want to show you how it works and where to find it. This is not something you need necessarily on the Joy. I'm pretty sure the Joy can handle these intricate cuts, although I haven't had a chance to focus on that or to show you that. So let me just take a moment to welcome everyone, and also to let you know that let's see. Yesterday, I was also supposed to post a video. I was in my studio, and I was getting ready to do that when the news hit. So I did not post a video about how to enter the contest that we're doing. But we do have a contest, and it's for a Cricut Easy Press Mini, which is the small Easy Press. It's a $70 retail value, and there is a link that you need to go to put your name in for the contest, and I have to do and explain the whole thing with a message, but that's okay. There's still plenty of time to get your name in, so do not worry that you're not going to be counted. And actually, you can have your name put in twice by doing the two things that are required for this job, for this contest, and that is to follow me on YouTube. And if you already do that, just comment, like, and do whatever to say that I know that you are there, right? So follow me on YouTube, or if you already do follow me, comment and like, and then follow me on Facebook, Miss Rita to the Rescue on Facebook. Those are the two things. But the third thing you have to do is you have to go to this link, which I will post. You go to this link and you're going to put your name in, and you select which of the two things you did. And in this case, if you did them both, you get 2 entries, is what I'm saying. All right. And I wanted to also welcome everybody. Sarah did her first print then cut. Awesome. Good morning to Susan, and to Dawn. I'm okay. I mentioned it to you yesterday, but I have fallen the day before. So what's today? Thursday. So on Tuesday, in my effort to, by myself, clean my craft studio and bring in all of my spring and Valentine's Day cardstock, which I keep in the vault, right? I slipped and fell, and I braced myself on the floor, wooden floor, and I really bruised the inside of my palm, my right palm. So I thought that was the only thing, but then yesterday what I was feeling was like a real, almost like when I was a skater, when you would fall really hard on the ice, like internally your muscles and everything just sort of feel like they've seized up a little bit. And so I decided, I've got to take some aspirin and take it easy. So that's what I'm doing. I am fine. It's just, I think falls are awful. And yeah, the pain does show up later, but I think that also bruises your ego a little bit, because we're upright people, and to fall, it just seems like you don't have it together. But anyway, let's just move right along. So today, let's talk about this. Love the little things. This is a really pretty, and here it is in a card. I'm showing to you on my screen where it is, but here it is in a card. And this is a fabulous example of intricate cutting. It's not the only example of intricate cutting. But it is a really fabulous example, and it actually has 3 layers. So it has this base layer, and it has this white layer, and then over it this pink layer. Obviously, you can color it any colors you want. In the picture, it's red, but I chose pinks for this today. And so I'm going to show you how to achieve these kinds of cuts, because I hear a lot from people who want to do this kind of stuff, and especially with paper, and they're unable to do that. And that's, it's understandable. And there are a few things to talk about with this. So I'm going to talk about them. All right. So this image comes from an older, not terribly old, but an older image set called Intricate Cuts. And so we're going over here to images, and under this highlighted categories, there's this image set. So let's do that, and we'll type in the word intricate. All right. Did I spell it right? And when you, And when you type in intricate cuts, you'll see that there are a number of really great image sets. This one is the one, intricate cut quotes, that I took this image from, but I would also point to these beautiful seasonal art pieces that, and I'll just give you a peek at that, but these are seasonal art pieces that can be cut out I've always looked at these as more of vinyl, but I suppose you could also cut them out in paper. I hadn't thought of that. So I'm going to go back and have a look at that for the spring ones. Anyway, so this is the one, intricate cut quotes. Now, a lot of these, like these mandala designs, are designed for vinyl, and I know a lot of people like to do those things, and there's a bunch of them, but mandalas mostly are done in vinyl, so I wanted to focus on our favorite, and that is paper. Sorry, my throat. Okay, so intricate cut quotes is a very interesting grouping of things. First, it's a great place to go if you're looking for something to use with pens, or now our what do you call it? Our foil transfer kits. You know, the ones that just launched last month, or last November, I guess it was. And so you'll notice them because they look like they're drawn as drawn images. That's not the ones that we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on these colorful ones. And there's a lot of really beautiful ones. Audrey Hepburn, spread only words of kindness. And then there's some cutesy ones like You're Nicer Than Sunshine and Lollipops. And, there's ones for the kitchen and ones for the front door. And I know that these were originally designed as for signs. And so I wanted to do it in paper because I just thought it would look kind of fun in paper, and perhaps even my original plan was to put it under glass in a like a shadow box, but didn't get to it. So anyway, these are really great, and they are really simple. They're not like tons and tons of layers. There's just basically 3 layers. So they work well with cutting. So, and just to show you, I love this one. You are awesome, and remember that. So here is what we're looking at. Love the little things. So let's click on that and bring it into our canvas. So it comes in, and I have resized this. So it comes in at about 4 by 3. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see what it consists of. So let's ungroup it, and it is just 1, 2, 3 layers. So you have the back layer, which is a pretty easy cut, but then you have these 2 layers that are a little more difficult. And if you try to cut these with just like medium cardstock, it would work, but you're bound to have things like a drag or problems like this. And let me just get up real close so you can see this. So this is what you might see on it might cut most of it out, but it might have a certain problem here or here, in different areas, and it's just going to mess up your cut, and you're going to be disappointed. So I want to show you a little trick about this. Now, first of all, size does matter in this case. So the smaller you go, the more you might have problems. Just simply because if you think about the machine, the machine has to maneuver all around and get into all those little pieces. And sometimes, if you tried to do this very small, it would have a really hard time getting in and around all those little pieces, especially on this one. I mean, look at all these little things that you'd have to cut out. And if you had it very small, could cause a problem. So one thing is, if you wanted to cut this out, say in vinyl, it wouldn't be as bad because you probably would cut it out larger, right? Most of our vinyl signs are like, 8 by 10, so it's less difficult. But if you're going to cut it out in paper, you're probably going to do it for a card. And the biggest card that we generally cut with our Cricut is a 5 by 7, which is what I have designed here today. So that means shrinking down this to 5 by 7, and it can cause some problems with all of these little details, okay? So size does matter. And the other thing too is, your material, like don't use cheap. I remember when I first started working with a Cricut, I thought, I'll just use construction paper. And I had a local friend who said, don't use that. It's so pulpy and it's just going to cut badly. So you do need to be careful about the products that you're cutting with. I have always recommended paper from Michaels. It's called Recollections. Let me see if I've got a, here it is. Okay, so this is paper that I get from Michaels. It usually comes in like 50 in a pack, and for under $6 or $7. We're going to use these. These work great also with making flowers. So we're going to do some paper flowers coming up, and this is what I use. It is 8.5 by 11, but when you're doing with paper flowers, it cuts out beautifully and does really well. I cannot speak to a lot of the other 8.5 by 11, and there are some, like I know Joanne's carries some different brands, but this one's from Michaels. It's generally always on sale, like every other week it's on sale, but at the retail price, it's like less than $5 or $6, I think. And then when they go on sale, sometimes you can pick it up for $2, $3, something like that. Okay. So careful with what you have. Also, be careful when you're doing intricate cuts with your mats. You want to have really clean mats. If you clean them off and you leave little bits on there, that will cause a problem with your cutting, especially the blade, because the blade kind of has to bump over it. And that is not a good thing. So a good clean mat that's relatively sticky works well. So let us talk about the actual cutting. So I'm going to move this out of the way, group it, and remove it. Okay, so I wanted to cut this out as a 5 by 7 inch card. So I had to build the card itself to put it on. And I did have a plan to put in a sentiment as well, but I didn't have time. So here we go. I took the actual image, and let me just show you. It's the same image that I just showed you, I brought in, and while it was grouped together, I made it, let me just group it together. I made it just under a 5 by 7 inch size. That's because I want to put it on a card, and you need to leave at least a little bit of room visually for your eye. Okay. And so I made it, this here is like 6.5 and wide, and the height ends up being 4.7 inches. Okay. And then I built this card. How did I build the card? Well, remember, I want it to be a 5 by 7 inch card, and I need to have a little score here. And so I went over to shapes, and I put in a square. And while I was there, I also put in 2 score lines. Okay? So the score lines are for if you have a scoring, if you're going to use a scoring stylus and not the scoring wheel. So if you have a scoring wheel, you don't need the 2 score lines. But if you have the stylus, the 2 score lines can be very useful to you. And let's see. So let's unlock it, and we're going to, because it is a 5 by 7 inch card, we're going to make it this long, right? This is 10 by 7. So we need to make our square, which you have to unlock it to change that. We need to make it 10 inches high, and then the width is 7 inches. Okay, so there's our card. I'm just going to change it to a lighter color just so you can see the dark. Sometimes you can't see it. All right, so here's our card, but I want to put the score line on there, and actually in this case I want to put the double score line because I'm going to use the Stylus to do the scoring, and a lot of people have mentioned that, and it's true, that the scoring stylus doesn't really give that deep of a score, or not as deep as the scoring wheel. So I just want to reiterate about the scoring wheel versus the scoring stylus. Okay, the scoring stylus is this thing. It looks like a pen, but it's not, and it goes in the clamp to the left. Okay, it goes in the clamp that you normally would put pens in. This works in the Maker, and it also works in the Explorer. It does not work in the Joy. Okay, it does not work in the Joy, but it works in the Maker and also in the Explore machines, family of machines. The other thing that you can use if you have a Maker is to use this, which is let me just get the right tip, is to use this adaptive tool right here that has the wheel, and this goes in the other clamp, the clamp that holds your cutting your blade. Okay, today we're going to kind of trick out the system using the scoring stylus. So if you have a Maker, yes, you can use this, and it does give a really nice score, but we're pretending like we don't have that, or we don't have a Maker, and we're going to be using the scoring stylus because I think a lot of people have that mostly. Okay, so now we have to take our scoring lines, and we're going to, I want to make sure that they come in front. Is this one in front? Yeah, okay. I'm going to take my scoring lines. Now, what I've done is I've positioned my box, or my square that's no longer a square. I've positioned it up into the corner so that I know I can look by inches. Okay, so I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 inches. So I want my scoring line to be exactly at the halfway point, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right at this line. Okay, and so I'm going to take my score, which comes in vertically, and I'm just going to drag it so that it is let me just make sure that I dragged it correctly. Now, sometimes people have a hard time with it being straight, so you can look at the percentage here. This is as close to straight that I'm going to get right now, but you guys can play around with this, but it's usually at 0.0, but close to that is fine. And we're going to take it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. Now you notice it's smaller than the card, and all you have to do is drag it over, and it's okay if it overlaps, all right? But you're going to drag it over to the other side. So now we have one score line here, and I just want to, you can play around with like how it's straight. It's going to go straight anyway, but this is just sort of a exercise in sort of futility. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with our second line. We're going to drag it, and we're going to put it in the same place. Okay, drag it, try to get them exactly one atop the other, like this. And this little teeny tiny bit's not going to matter all that much if you think about the way that this is going to work, okay? So it's not going to matter all that much, but have them be as close as possible. Then you have to select all of this and attach it. So select all of this and go down here to the paper clip and choose attach. That way, our scoring line has been attached to our card, and we can now cut it, okay? So, I did the same thing here, by the way, with the 2 score lines. Okay, so let me just go ahead and show you how to cut this and how to choose the correct the correct setting. So here we go. We're going to cut it there. This is mat number 1, and this is just our basic card. You can put a sentiment in here if you want to. I just didn't have time to do it. So you can go back and put in a sentiment. Now here is one of the layers, and this one I would definitely cut with Intricate Cut. This one, not so much. It's just the base layer, and then this one also requires the special setting. So let's hit continue. And I'm going to go to browse all materials, or if you have it selected as a favorite, which is this little star, you don't have to be browsing all materials, but let's say you don't. So we're going to go to the cardstock grouping right here. And at the very top, you'll see cardstock for intricate cuts. Okay, that's what we're going to use to cut out 2 of those layers. So let's start with that, just simply because it does take longer, okay? It does take longer, and you're just going to have to be a little more patient with it. This, again, this setting is available for all Explore people and also Maker people. It uses the regular fine point blade. You don't need to swap out to a different blade. You just have to have this setting, okay? And I'm just going to move you over just so you can kind of see. I'm going to make sure I choose, this is the mat I want to do for cardstock for intricate cuts, okay? Now you can also increase the speed if you wanted to, but personally I think that sort of defeats the purpose. And so I would personally just keep the speed the way that it is, okay? And then once we put it in, we just press this button, this flashing button, and it will show you, it's going to demonstrate how it does go slower, but it's going to continue to cut, but it's going to be very careful about the cut and cut all of those little intricate pieces like this, okay? And yeah, while we're talking about this, let's talk about fast mode. Fast mode is great, but I don't use it for most things. I will use it if I have to cut out, let's say, a lot of very basic shapes and I need to do it all really fast. So for instance, if I had to cut out like a bunch of Christmas cards and I needed to do all those basic, like the base of the card, I would just use fast mode because it's a lot quicker that way. I would also use my scoring stylus. Now this particular piece doesn't require the stylus, so I don't have it in, but you can keep it in there if you want to. I often will just leave it in there, so when it's ready, it will be implemented. You do need to make a change on your screen if you have a Maker, because it will automatically default to the scoring wheel. Okay, so that is how it cuts out. It takes a long time to cut out. I'm not going to sit here and watch it cut out. Yeah, this is my little gold cutie, and he's sitting in with all my little New Year's Eve cutouts, right? So let's put this together. where are my pieces? And I'm going to move you to show you how to put this together. Pretty simple. What I did for this card is I did also use my foam dots to give it a little more lift. And I like that look, but you don't need it. It's up to you if you want to use it. So let me just move some things away and send you down here so you can see how to put it together. Okay, so slicing, Bren is asking about slicing. The thing about slicing is you have to do it one at a time. So Bren, 3 small hearts cut out of a square is fine and it will slice, but your images have to be one-on-one. So if you want to slice, you couldn't say slice 1, 2, and 3. It has to be one-on-one, okay? And that includes layers. Now, this is where the this glue comes in incredible, like, good measure. This is Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. It has wonderful tip, and it's very, very precise, makes it a lot easier to put these together. And I did see someone yesterday, and I apologize for not coming back to it, but someone was talking about they did that Rob and Bob card, and they were asking how do they make it look like less like wavy. And my feeling about that, and I forget who was asking about it in our group, but my feeling about that is that probably used too much glue. When you are using glue, it doesn't matter what glue you're using, although I do prefer this glue just simply because of the way it dries. And I also use this glue called Art Glitter Glue, but it's hard to find in the winter. So what I'm doing now is I am putting glue everywhere, but I'm not putting a whole lot of it. You see, I'm barely pushing on the bottle, and I am just taking and putting just little tiny dots. I know you think, oh, the more glue, the better. But you have to work around that thought process. There's a little piece that didn't cut out. So you have to work around that thought process. You need to glue all these little pieces so that they stay down. But you cannot use too much glue. More glue, it does not equal a better project. Okay? So you have to spread it around, but just don't put a whole lot, if that makes sense. Okay? So that's what I'm doing. So I'm working on the back of the front layer, and look, I'm putting the glue in all of these little pieces. I know that it is very tedious to some, but this is what you have to do. Now, some people might say, well, why don't you cut this out in vinyl? And yes, you absolutely could, and I have done that and used vinyl on the cards, and we've done cards with vinyl before. Personally, you could also do it on iron-on, and as I mentioned at the top of the show, I was going to do iron-on paper for this, but I just didn't get to doing it because of everything going on in the world. And so I just simply figured we'd stick to the intricate cuts for cardstock and learn about that. Okay, the other thing I wanted, while I'm just putting my little glue here, Saturday night is date night, and we haven't had date night in 2 weekends, mostly because holidays and stuff. So I wanted to check with you to see if there was anything in particular you wanted to learn that you've been waiting to learn for that I can focus on for date night. I'm open to anything from iron-on, infusible ink, a big 3D paper project. What else is there? And don't worry if this starts to dry, because you can usually get I mean, I wouldn't walk away from it, but it can usually stay a little bit sticky for a while. So I'd love to hear what you all think about what we should do for date night on Saturday. And let's see. Love to hear about that, and any other suggestions that you might have that can make this year go a little smoother with our Cricut Chat. Oh yes, Dorothy, I did get printable iron-on in the mail. Let me grab it so I can show you what I got. I ordered it from a company that I normally don't order from, and it took a while, but it came, and it's by a company called Starcraft, which I'm going to be really honest with you. I always use Cricut products, but since Cricut doesn't have this for the use or the purpose of doing printable iron-on, this would be something that could be washed. And I've tried a couple of other products and did not have good results with them. That's why I felt comfortable with using somebody else's product, and I could certainly show you that. We'll need to be near a printer, but I can set it up for that, where we can do a printed version, but I haven't tested it, so it will be a new thing for all of us. But if that's something you want to see, then that is what I will give you. For sure. Now this one here, remember I showed you had all of these little pulls here. It's going to be okay to use it because it's below, but if it were on the top one, I would have to cut it again using my intricate cut setting. Okay, so here I am just putting all of my little dots here. And do you hear that my my one copy of that middle piece is still cutting? So this is not something you just run in and whip out. It's something that you have to be patient with your machine, because it is carefully cutting the cardstock. All right. I think I got enough glue on there. Again, remember, I got all the glue on there. It's just not a lot of glue. Okay, there is my base. So I'm just going to put this here. And I think this would make a fabulous sign, but I also think it makes a pretty decent looking card as well. Okay. And then here's just our basic card that I did with the double scoring line and the scoring stylus. I think it came out pretty good. I actually did the scoring on the inside and folded it this way, but not for any particular reason. I just did it that way. And I decided that I was going to use the pop dots. So I'll do that again. These are pop dots if you've never seen them. Basically, it's just a piece of foam that has adhesive on either side. Okay, and they also have this like little protective, like almost like a sticker covering. So you're going to take the pop dots out, and we're going to just pop them in place. I call them pop dots. I think they're called foam mounting squares or circles, but I call them pop dots. I don't know why. I think it might be a brand name. Now, one of the things, if you have these pop dots, they usually come in like a sheet. You'll notice that my sheet's kind of been cut. And the reason behind that is after I take out those dots, what I do is I use this piece, especially for something like this card, is I take it and it's going to be a long piece, right? So I just take it off like this and put it on the back of my card. Actually, I have another piece saved from earlier, so here it is, another one. So that will save you a little bit of time and product, but we'll put the other ones, and make sure you get it on all four corners of the card, and then put one in the middle, or at least one in the middle, to just kind of give it some stability if somebody were to touch it with their fingers. The intricate cut available for vinyl and iron-on. To be honest, I don't think that they need it, Diana, but if you feel like, you cut this out using vinyl or iron-on and it didn't work well, then I could always ask them about it to add a setting. But I know that this intricate cut was added for the purpose after the fact when the maker came out. So I think people were concerned that it didn't cut well with the paper, but I haven't heard that with iron-on. Okay, so there's our card. How cute is that? In this case, imagine having to do this with, and I'm going to show you because my cutout is done. Imagine having to do this by hand, because there were people, and there probably still are people, who will take their X-Acto knives. I'm just going to look what I'm doing here. I'm bending my mat so that I don't disrupt or make this sort of bent. All right, so you bend the mat so you won't bend your paper. Now, obviously, there are little pieces here, and so you might need your little hooky thing, your little vinyl weeder, or whatever you want to use to sort of push out those little pieces. But let me tell you, this to me looks fabulous. I mean, just really beautiful. What do you think? I mean, that is an amazing cut. And I've seen some beautiful designs, like, say, if you didn't want to use this one in particular or any of the others from that grouping, I've seen some beautiful designs on Etsy that does this. This is, I would, if you were like, if you started as a quilter or sewer, this is what I would call a fussy cut, and a really fussy cut, but they call it intricate cutting, and I just love it, and I wanted to share that with you. So that is intricate cutting for cardstock. All right, and let me just bring you back here. See that cardstock for intricate cut. I don't have to use it for all four of those. I only have to use it for those 2 layers, and the rest can be cut. And so here's my my regular card thing, and then I would just go back and just choose medium cardstock. And then if I had a maker, I can just go back and do scoring stylus. And that is it, my friends, my lovely friends, and I hope that you will try this. I will try to post the link, but as I mentioned yesterday, I've been having trouble with my links not working, and I guess I'm not the only one. So this has been reported to Cricut, and hopefully they will correct the situation right quick. Oh, it's it is Ukrainian Christmas. Wonderful. Yes, it's also Epiphany for people who celebrate Epiphany or 12th night. And Babs, I know, celebrates 12th night. All right, everyone. Thank you again. If you're watching this on the replay, don't forget, you're going to want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow me on Miss Rita to the rescue, so you can catch me live or just catch the replays. Thanks, everybody. I will be posting that other video later today so that everybody can get their name in. Okay? Take care. Bye.